राम राम भाइयों और बहनों, आपका स्वागत है मेरे चैनल वेक्टर रूट 3 पे। यहाँ पर आपको मिलेगी हर एक टॉपिक पर वीडियो और कोर्स, वो भी बिल्कुल फ्री में।
आपको ये कम करना होगा, हमारी वीडियो को पूरा देखना होगा और लाइक करना होगा और कमेंट करना होगा और हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना होगा ताकि आपको नई वीडियो सबसे पहले देख सके।
Documents. When you open the Illustrator, we can find the options either choose the size of the page from here or go with the new file. The same option is available inside the file menu. When you click to this, we have the new. One shortcut that we can use in this case, Control N. When you click to the new, either from the file menu or from here in the new file button directly, you get the option new document. This is the panel. Inside this, we have all the features that helps us to optimize our document. So understand first what is document, why we need to set up the document properly. So we are using the Illustrator software either for practice creating some graphics that for our personal use. And sometimes we can create the content for the clients for their very specific requirement, that may be for the print media, that may be for the digital media platform. So document setup, this is the panel that basically allow you to manage the size of the page according to your own requirement. So let's say you have one banner that is required to upload to the website. What is the exact size of the banner? If you want to get a better quality output, then definitely you can define exactly the same size what you are expecting, what you have required. Okay. And at the same time, we have the mode of the color and the other features are there that we are going to explore. So for that reason, starting creating anything into the Illustrator, that starts always from the setup of the document. For practice, no matter what is the size that you can choose, that's completely fine. But for professional works, it's very important to choose the right size of the page. So when we export the design, when we just share the content with our client, they always get better quality, high quality output. For that reason, document setup is important. Okay. Since Illustrator is used for the various purpose, maybe you are a graphic designer, fashion designer, you are an illustration artist, or you are working in the CG industry, you are UI UX designer. They all know the Illustrator software just because they are creating the graphics seamlessly inside the software. Here we can find the recent. Recent tab basically shows us the page which is used by us in the recent projects. Okay. So already we have any size which is predefined that is going to show. Even if you are adding a new size of the page, that also added here in this list. So we can go to the right side here for the setting options. Okay. In case if you want to click to select any one of the page or the document, you can see the size that gonna changed and the property also changed. Saved is the another tab, the next one just after the recent. There we can save the specific size. So let's say you are designing the Instagram post and that size is actually not in the predefined set of the document. You can add that one and then further you can directly click and use. Okay, so very specific requirement you have for the size of the document, for the color and for the resolution, you can consider that and save further. We're going to discuss about that further. Okay. The next to it is the mobile. Since the UI UX designer, the web designer, they also use this applications to draw the rough layout and drafting. So for that reason, here we can see we have many size of the pages are there. Technically, these are basically the famous size which is in the market actually. So you can see the iPhones, right? So as a graphic designer, in case if you have such requirement to design the UI, then you can consider this. Otherwise, you can leave this one. When we come to the next tab, that is the wave. Inside wave, when we create the content that is going to upload to the website, that may be any post, that may be full HD thumbnail that you want to design for the YouTube, or even you have requirement to like create the ad banner for a very specific size that you can consider inside this. We have so many size of the document is already available as we can see clearly in this list. But if the size is not mentioned, just like the Instagram post size, that is 1080 is not there as you can see now. So what you do, just go to the manual options to customize the size. Suppose we have requirement to design the Instagram post. Okay, so you can define the name first. If you want to save this for your future references, just click to the save. And then further also we can define the name Instagram post. Okay. And we can then further just go to the unit. Unit is basically allow us to define the specific size. If you have 1 foot and 1 inch, both are different. If you have 1 centimeter and 1 pixels, both are different, right? So it's very important to choose the right pixels. Then only you can customize the size of the page properly. Since we are creating the content that is going to upload to the websites, and screen are always in the pixels. For digital content, pixel is the one unit that you can choose. Other than that, whatever you see that you can use for the print media, we consider the pixels. The next rate is the width. What is the size? As we know, the Instagram post size is 1080. If you have any like doubt regarding the size and all, you can make sure confirm from the Google. Okay, you can just go there and search over their Instagram post size. This is one standard square size that you get over there. So 1080 pixels, the width and the height is just the same. If you have any design or the document that is more as compared to the width, like we have the landscape type of the design, you have landscape means more width, this one, the second one. And the first one here is the portrait. Portrait means more height as compared to the landscape. Since we are using the square size of the page, so there is no need for the orientation. We only consider the values, because the same value, no matter we are choosing the portrait or the landscape, since width and the height is exactly the same, no matter. The next rate is the artboards. As we can see, artboards is the number of the pages. Artboard is equal to pages. Okay. So if you have requirement to design the graphics and there you need 4 pages, or maybe you are designing the leaflets, okay, 6 pages that you want. You are designing the brochure of the 8 pages or 12 pages. So you can consider the 12 number of the pages here. And we have freedom to customize the size of the page. We have freedom to add and delete any extra artboard. If that is not needed, you can further delete. For now, I'm going to increase this value to 2. So we have by default 2 set of the pages or the artboards. Come to the next option is the bleed. So bleed is a very specific thing that we can use when we take the print out, not for the web. So if you have a design that is smaller than the size of the page. So let's say you have one design that is A5 in size, just half of the A4, and you have A4 sheet and you have 1000 copy that you need to take the print out. Okay, so what do you do in this case? 2 A5 size that we can fit into one A4 size of the page, and then after we can use the bleed to cut exactly to the center. No worry, we are going to discuss about that further with an example to clear this concept. For now, you can leave this. Not needed in this case when we are designing the digital contents. Go to the next option, that is advanced. Advanced mode, and inside this we have the color, RGB and the CMYK. When you use the content in the screen, you watch that one, right? You see the video, you see the musics, the song, the movies. That is the digital content, right? In the same way, when we see any websites, there we have static content. Static means there is no actions, there is no movement, no animation, no movement, no videos. Only the static graphic, like the advertisements, we have the post, we have the banner, we have the story. So these are basically considered like the digital content. And in the print media, we have the magazine printout, we have the brochure printout. Since we are designing the content for the web, we can choose the RGB, because RGB is the mode of the color that give you more saturation and high contrast as compared to the CMYK. CMYK that we can choose when we have the print related design. So when you choose the CMYK, what color that you are getting in the document, those are CMYK colors, is less saturated as compared to the RGB. So for a screen, better contrast, you can always consider the RGB. If you by mistake choose the CMYK over here, you get the information like this, the error kind of thing. So we can consider the CMYK. The next to it is the raster. Raster basically is the resolution that you basically optimized and go with the values. So if you have like 36 pixels, PPI is not going to consider by us. It's a very low quality actually. PPI stand for point per inch. 72 is the standard for the wave content. If you upload the website content, okay, into any page or the in any like in the tab of the website, you are creating the advertisements, the Instagram post, the story covers, the thumbnails, and so the size of the file, that does matter over there. You are uploading the JPG, the PNG. So 72 give you high quality, but at the same time, the file size is light. But if you have a very complex type of the design, you have so many detailings are there that you want to export and share, you can go with the 115 PPI, right? 150 PPI. If you have a print related design required, you can then only consider the 300 PPI, because the size is also very high. Size is very high in the sense, let's say you have one design document that is 1 MB in the 72 PPI, then automatically if you're choosing the 300 PPI, that may be more than 10 MB. Okay, so make sure you guys can consider the 72. Make sure that only you need to choose in this case. Okay, And then further, we can just go with the default mode. If you click to the save presets, what happened? This is the size of the page that we already defined, and inside the save tab that is going to add. So whatever the changes that you have done, since this is added here in this list, we are free to choose this page anytime. Just click to that and click on the create. We have the same set of the things are going to select it. We no need to add the Instagram post again and again. So this is the way through which you can optimize and save the specific size with their settings for your future references to save your time. Okay. So this is how we can optimize and save. We can again go to the wave section. If you click to this is the 1920-1080 full HD size, a very common size actually, which is used by us frequently. And if you consider the HD only, not the full HD, so HD is not mentioned here. We can define that size 1080 or 1920, right? So 1920-1080 is the full HD, 1280 and 720, right? So this is the size for the HD. This is the size for the HD pixels, and the unit is that you can define. Then for the 1280, 720 orientation not needed. We can click to the create. So with this way, what happen if you are not going to save this one, the size which is defined by you instantly saved over here. All right, now I hope you have clarity. And by mistake, the name is mentioned Instagram post. If you want to rename, because this is not the actual Instagram post size. Okay, if you do this mistake, you can rename it. With document, we have freedom to customize everything as per our requirement, from the name of the document to the page size, every single thing. You can also close from here, the tab. Once again, go to the new file. We can then further go to the wave section. If you click to the wave, then further we can decide what size we need. Okay, and then further you can consider the name if it is required, and further also you can save. Click to select any preset size. We have automatically the resolution 72 PPI and the color mode RGB is selected. We can then further click on the create. Wait for a few seconds to load, and then after we can see we have the page is the same. Now we can see untitled too. Okay, untitled means the name is not defined. To save your file in your system for your future reference, you can just go to the file menu. We can then consider the save. Save is the option just to save your file. Simple. Okay. Save as is used to create a copy file of the same. We can use this also in a very specific case when it is required to make multiple set of the copy. So when we save the file, we get the location where you have requirement to save. Okay, so I'm going to define the name, that is DOC, or maybe design one. Okay. And here we have the name of the file. The next to it is the save as type. Save as type basically allow you to save which type or the format that you consider while saving the file. Since this is the Illustrator file, and by default this one is selected, .ai is the extension of the Illustrator file. We can click on the save. And when you again save, okay, you can see here we have the version. If you are using any older version, say, okay, no matter what type of the work you have, but when you start saving, and if you want to share your work with the others and they are using the older version of the Illustrator, not the same which you are using, okay? So in this case, what you do, just you can consider any older version like the CS version, CS2, CS3 and so on. For now, we are going to continue with this. Click on OK to confirm. I'm using the latest version in the market right now, but you can optimize the version according to your own requirement. Why this is important actually? If you are not optimizing the version, just after, if you see here, let me show you once again. When we define the name with save as the new name and click on OK, save. So Illustrator 2020, and then after maybe 25 you are using, 26 or 27 you are using. So the changes are very light. You can very easily open any Illustrator 2020, 21, 22, 25, 26, 27 version of the file inside the Illustrator very easily. There is no such issue. But if you have Illustrator that is the older version, and if you want to use, suppose you have CS5 installed in your system, and you want to open the Illustrator 2020, 25, 26 version, that is not going to open just because of the error. So make sure you can optimize it properly. For now, we can click on cancel button. So right now we have one single page or artboard. We have requirement to change the size of this existing document. So what you do now, use one tool that is called Artboard tool. Shift O is the shortcut. Click to active the Artboard tool. And then further in the top side, we can find some of the options which is used to optimize it. Since we have the selection of the landscape already more width as compared to the height, in case if you want to switch from the landscape to the portrait, in portrait we have more height. You can one single click and instantly we can see we have the page size that is going to flip from the landscape to the portrait mode. One artboard 1 is mentioned in case if you want to define, suppose front page. I'm going to define a new name and we can see we have that name is also visible here. Right. If you check, the size of the width is 1080 pixels and the height is 1920. Want to add more pages? Click on this plus. New artboard. When you click to this button, instantly we have a new artboard is added, and since this is selected, click, just hold the button of the mouse. We can also set this one at certain distance. It's a very important feature actually. If you are designing the front and the back cover of the any design, so maybe multiple set of the pages you want, you can very easily optimize. In the same way, we can click once again. One more is added. One more time, click to add. If you want to delete any one of the page that is not needed in your designs, you just need to click to select that first. And you can select the artboard only when you have the artboard tool is active. Then delete artboard. Click to delete the selected one. Click once again to select the next. And again, delete artboard. So with this way, very easily we can add and delete the artboard. Now, if you have requirement to use one single design with the different sizes, so just click to select the page or the artboard. In the top side, we can see we have the specific size. I'm going to consider 1080 in the height and also 1080 in the width. Enter. So not only with the same size, but you have requirement, then you can also optimize. One more options to add the new artboard is we can directly click to the page and the canvas area, drag and create a new page or the artboard. If you want to check the size of this artboard, so we can see we have the width. This is 1084 pixels, not the exact number actually. And we need to define, sometimes we just need to define it. I'm going to make it 1000 pixels by 800 pixels in height or maybe 250 pixels in the height. If you are creating the web banner, you can consider the size of the page like this. So when we have one theme, the design is ready, the same design that we can use for the different platforms. That may be for Instagram story, that may be for your Facebook cover page, that may be for Instagram post or in any website banner. The same design that we can copy and paste and optimize it. We are going to discuss about this concept in the upcoming sessions too. Here we are understanding the possibilities and what are the setting options through which you can manage your document and the canvas page and the area. And the page size is already set. Want to back? Just use the selection tool and then further you can click outside. Here, whatever you are creating inside the page, those are going to count as the main part of your design. If you design anything that is just outside, let's say I'm using the basic shape right now. When we drag and create, that is visible in the page. Double click to pick any one of the color from here, click on OK to confirm, use the selection tool. If you just go to the outside, which is just 50% inside and outside of the design, while exporting the document, you have property to define the artboard export. So go to the file. We can then further choose the options export from here. And here we can find the option export as. With export as, we can find one option use artboards. If you define this artboard, that means whatever the data you have in the artboard, that only going to export, not the inside only, right? The outside is not going to export. If you uncheck, your whole design is going to export. We'll discuss about this further. For now, cancel. And if you want to change the color page, so we have by default is the white one. Inside Photoshop, we have different ways through which you can do that. But here we have completely different approach. We just need to use the basic shape in this case. Then further click to the corner and you can then further cover the whole page like this. The outline is not required. So we can get two different options. One for the fill, that is inside the shape color. You can choose any one of the color from the swatches panel. Or the next to it is the stroke or the outline. When you click, the first option that we can see is the none. None means no color. Use the selection tool, click outside. So this is how you can change the color of the page. But yes, technically this is a shape. So in this case, we just need to lock this layer. Why? Click to select. If we are designing anything that may be like changing the position, this has happened. So we can find the options, alignment over here, align to center horizontally, vertically. Once you create a size that cover the whole page, you can then further go to the layer. Layers panel is the option. Inside this, we can find so many things to optimize our designs, and we can manage the designs properly. If you want to lock this layer, just click to the toggle lock. So with this way, what happened? We have the graphic that is going to lock. You just need to add a new layer. Click to this plus icon. We have a new layer is added. And then further, we can start creating the designs. The background is fixed and locked. So if you consider any color and the shape as a background element, right? So in this case, you can lock that layer first, and then you can start designing the graphics in the new layer. So this is how we can manage it. We have so many features are there. This is an amazing software. One of my favorite software actually to design the graphics. And inside this, no matter what is the size of your design, the quality will remain the same because this is vector graphics. We have raster graphics and the vector. Photoshop is basically raster based graphic. If you zoom in, you get the pixels. But inside Illustrator, if we create any shape, suppose I'm creating one designs over here, that is a basic type of the design right now. Only the size that we can change, suppose like this. So when you zoom in, we can zoom in up to 64,000%. This is 400% right now. You can see this is the zoom in amount. So we just need to zoom in. Okay. Zoom in again and again, and then still we can see we have the quality is the same. There is not a single pixel. 64,000% is the zoom in. For zoom in, zoom out, you can use the Alt button and the center wheel of the mouse to scroll. One more options we have for zoom in, zoom out is the zoom tool. You can click and then further click to the screen, hold the button of the mouse, drag the mouse to the downside, and with this way you can zoom in and drag upside, zoom out. So zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Click on the screen after selection of this tool, and you can drag the mouse position to the downside, upside for zoom out, downside for zoom in. So this is how we can optimize our document. If you are designing for the print media, okay, so this is RGB. RGB means the digital content that we are going to set up. When you go to the new once again, and here we can see we have the print. These are the standard size of the pages which is considered for the print media. So when you want to design the graphic that you have requirement to take the print out, you can simply click to select that page. A4 is one standard size that we recommend here. You can also change the units. That may be feet, that may be inches, that may be mm, cm, any one of the units that you can choose. We suggest to go with the smallest units so that you have options to optimize further. 210 mm by 297 mm. This is portrait size. We can also switch to the landscape. Instantly the value that gonna shift it. Now we have 297 is the width and 210 is the height. Okay, and we also consider 3 mm is the blade. 3 mm is one standard size that we consider for the industry. So when you click to the next to it, just all are filled with the 3 because this is linked. All are linked to each other. If this is unchecked, and when you set the value to 0 to the 1, the others are not affected. So make sure you can consider the same value. 3 mm is the standard size. CMYK is the mode of the color, cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. When designing the graphics for the print, definitely you need to choose the CMYK only. So what you see on your screen, and when you take the print out, the color will remain the same, the saturation will remain the same if you choose the CMYK. 300 PPI is the standard raster effect that we can see that give you better results in terms of their quality and resolution. Click to create. Now we can see we have the artboard, and just after that we have the bounding box. One red type of the line is highlighted. This is the area for the bleed only. If you define the bleed size, then only you can see that one in your page. Your working area is the canvas area, or we can say the artboard area. Now we can see this is untitled 3, means the name of the document is not defined yet. 74.1% is the zoom in. CMYK is the mode of the color which is selected here. This is A4 size. If you want to check and confirm, use the artboard tool, and then automatically in the top side the document setup is going to highlight. This is A4 right now. If you want to switch to any other in case you need such kind of thing, when you click here, we get so many different sizes are there. If you have requirement to use, suppose A3 is just a double of A4. Okay, so when you are creating the poster, you can consider A3, that is one standard size for the poster designing. Automatically the page size that gonna change to just a double. Once again, we can switch to the A4. So we can consider A4. And then after we have options to add multiple pages. Click and then you can add more pages. The name of the artboard that also we can define from here. The width that we can see, this is 297 and 210 mm, right? So this is one standard size for the A4 size. In case if you have requirement to design very specific size, suppose 200 mm by 200 mm, okay, sticker, that kind of the requirement you have, you can define the size manual in that case, because that is not given here by default. You have very custom size required. So now we can use the artboard tool. Artboard is highlighted. Want to add more? Click on this plus icon. And then if you want to change the position to the bottom side, just click and hold the button of the mouse, drag and drop to the area where you want to set. Use the selection tool, click outside to deselect. So this is how we can optimize, and as per our own requirement, we can manage the document setup inside the Illustrator software with this way. So yeah, that's all for this session. We'll continue with the next topic in the new session.